afternoon and welcome to Gulfstream today. Katie Stazak joined by track announcer Pete Aiello. Pete, what a great day of racing yesterday was here and all over the country.
Yeah, congratulations to the locally based Sheer Drama for her victory in the personal ensign, beating both Stop Charging Maria and Untappable. Great job by Dave Fox and the crew to get her a victory in Saratoga yesterday. And congratulations to the Connections of Keen Ice, winners of the Travers.
Yeah, really exciting day of racing. A bunch of upsets, but that's why you play the game. And we had a pretty close call here at Gulfstream with the Rainbow Six. We had 7 singles heading into the final leg. It did not go down. It stays alive into today. And what a carryover we have, $481,000 plus, almost $482,000. That's going to begin in race number 5. This thing just continuing to get bigger and bigger. The excitement grows. And we're going to have a mandatory payout if it stays alive on Labor Day, so that's something to look forward to. So let's take a look at what else is tweeting around the country along with all of that great racing yesterday. Like Pete mentioned, Sheer Drama. Here's a great photo of Team Fox and Sheer Drama after that win in the personal ensign. And they're going to the Breeders' Cup. Punched a ticket, that was a win and you're in.
Yeah, and the good thing about that is Dave Fox is no stranger to the Breeders' Cup winner's circle. So on to Lexington they go with Sheer Drama. She's now won back-to-back Grade 1 races. She's on a roll right now.
When Dave Fox won the Breeders' Cup Sprint, it was with Sheer Drama's half-brother, Big Drama, so that's pretty cool. We also had another locally based horse run pretty well yesterday, and this was from the Marty Wolfson barn. We saw Kiss to Remember romp here in the Monroe Handicap. She goes up to Saratoga. She was a really game second in the Grade 1 Ballerina.
Yeah, she looked like she was actually kind of spinning her wheels, and then when the winner came to her on the outside, she quickened with the winner, and then just couldn't match rides with her in the closing stages. Finished a great second yesterday.
She did, and looking forward to seeing her back here at Gulfstream as well. And then, of course, we mentioned the big race of the day. Everyone was watching. They came out in throngs to see American Pharoah. He did not win, but I thought this was a great tweet. Like Zenyatta, American Pharoah, he's put racing in the headlines. He's brought people to the track, and even in defeat, when Zenyatta won her final start in the Breeders' Cup Classic to Blame, more respect to him and his connections. He did nothing to disgrace himself.
And that comes from Travis Stone, who should have a way with words. He's the track announcer at Monmouth Park and Churchill Downs and Louisiana, and a good friend of mine. So nice to see him get a little respect, both for American Pharoah and for his good job that he does.
I saw another tweet that we don't have for you, but it kind of, I thought it summed it up great. It was in quotes, and it said, well, Secretariat would have been great had he not lost to Onion. Said no one ever. So I'm pretty sure American Pharoah is still going to be in the history books, still a champion.
I think right now what everyone wants to know, both in the mainstream media and in the racing media, is does he run in the Breeders' Cup? And I really hope that if we can appeal to Ahmed Zayat to give him another shot, take him to Kentucky and get him to cool his jets for a few weeks and see how he sits, and then make the decision in a couple of weeks. Don't be too impulsive. That would be my hope anyway.
We can start getting some signs, maybe make a hashtag, but hopefully it is not the last that we've seen and racing has seen of American Pharoah. So let's get to this card. We're going to start the day with a $35,000 maiden claiming event. 3-year-olds and up going to be going a mile on the turf course. And we have just one scratch. That's your main track only, batting cage, and Tyler Gaffleone's going to be on the 6. Charlie Has Heart. I went with the 8. Pete, you went 1 outside of me. Tell me about the 9, Running on Guinness.
Well, the first thing we should tell everyone is that a couple of days ago you were thinking, if you were following the Weather Channel, that we were going to be in the midst of one heck of a storm. We're still going to get some rain. We had a lot of rain last night, so the main track starts good and the turf course starts good. Definitely some cut in the ground. That'll play a role on the turf course here this afternoon. But look for the track condition to improve throughout the day. If it's not raining right now, we're supposed to get some rain later on this afternoon. So the turf course will start good, and Running on Guinness is my top play in the race. He was 4th last time out over a good turf course. He lost to some of the horses in here, like the 7 Starship Frontier, and your horse number 8, Crowd Idol, finished 3rd 2 starts ago, but did not handle the off-turf last time out. The good news, though, is Tap It Off, who beat him, actually came back to win yesterday. So this is a very contentious first race, and it's a race where I think you have to spread if you're playing multi-leg wagers.
It is. Crowd Idol did not handle a good turf course last time out. but it was in a maiden special weight. So he's going to be taking a big drop in class today, running for a career low. 2 back, he was third at the $50,000 maiden claiming level, only beat in a half length. I thought he had a really nice closing kick that day after rallying from 6 wide, and the way the turf course has been playing, that's going to play to his advantage. Should appreciate that class relief today. So we'll see, and again, got to see how that track is playing. We also both used the 6. Charlie has heart, and he's going to have that rider change today, but not a bad rider change to have.
No, not at all. I was kind of, I would have used Charlie has heart on top if I'd have known beforehand who was going to ride him. Of course, Harry Hernandez is out with a broken wrist, so now his horses are all going to be picked up, as it were, and Tyler Gaffalione picks him up. This horse ran really, really well last time out. He was cut loose at about the 5/16, made a big wide sweeping run to get up for second. The winner of that race, Highland Warrior, came back against allowance horses and did not disgrace himself just the other day. So I think Charlie has heart, probably the one to beat in here. The bettors agree with that early on. He's 8-5.
Last time out, definitely the best race of his career, and it was his second start with Lasix. A lot of times, second-time Lasix will have more of an effect than first-time Lasix. So another thing you might want to note down in your notes today. So we'll move on to the second race. This is a $6,250 claiming event. 3-year-olds and up going to be sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track. No scratches, but 1 jockey change. Luis Figueroa is going to get the mount on my top pick, Artefacto. Pete, you have him in second, but you went with the 3, Dangerous Trick, and this horse really is pretty game, and I could easily see him getting back in form today.
Yeah, I like the barn switch here. Antonio Chaffee takes over the training. He set the pace last time out and finished third. Gets a rider switch here to Diego Gomez. He's 6 for 9 in the exact and the off-going, and for me in here, he's the controlling speed with Bellamy Chief on his outside. So I'm going to take him here. Union Label's another horse that we'll both talk about, that taking a step up from the condition ranks. And again, with the 1 Artefacto, I didn't know who was riding, so I had to temper my enthusiasm.
Yeah, we both do have that 2 Union Label. He won by 7 lengths last time out on July 30th, but like you mentioned, it's a step up today because that was against non-winners within the year, though he is a 4-time winner at the distance. I ended up going on top with Artefacto. He's going to join a new barn as well today, moving to trainer Marcial Navarro. He won by 3 lengths last time out. Marcial Navarro, they normally move horses up, and this horse won last time out, so that's a little scary to me. Earned an 80 buyer as well and defeated many of the horses in here. I think he can sit the trip again, but I think this is, again, another pretty competitive field.
You used an adjective yesterday, and we'll use it again today. Marcial Navarro has been lethal off the claim, and Artefacto doesn't have to improve as he just won.
We'll move on to the third race. This is a maiden special weight. 3-year-olds and up will be going a mile on the main track. Amicia Jaramillo picks up Harry Hernandez's mount on the 6 Equilibrium. And Pete, that's the horse you put right on top.
Yeah, I think the 3 horses that are the contenders here are the 3 that you see on your screen, the 3, 6, and 7. I went with the best price of the 3. Equilibrium has returning after running in the Champions meeting in December last year. Had some trouble that afternoon, showed some speed, was in the process of backing up, and then clipped heels and fell. He's been given plenty of time to recharge his batteries. This is his first start as a 3-year-old. As you know, horses will improve from their 2 to 3-year-old season. Picks up Jaramillo for the call today. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. And I like the fact that he did show some speed in his debut run. We'll see if he's matured and grown into himself. I think he's a viable alternative as the third price, if you will, in these 3 horses that are the top 3 contenders.
The winner of that race was Made from Lucky, now a 2-time Grade 3 winner, just won the West Virginia Derby and is probably going to be one of the top choices in the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby coming up. So that certainly doesn't disgrace him either. Would have been nice to see how he ran that day had he gotten a clean trip and was able to. I went with the 7, Titanor. This is a Giants Causeway colt, going to make his second start off a 6-month layoff for Ralph Nix. He's 29% in that category. Thought he was a solid third, first time off the shelf on August 6th and has trained well since. On paper, I think this is the horse to beat, but I kind of still have to wonder, based on pedigree, if he might be better on the grass. His half-brother, the Leopard, was a graded stakes winner on turf, and his full sister, Just Pretending, was Grade 1 stakes place in Ireland, where it's all grass. But I kind of like that it's off track today. Maybe he'll love that. Who else did you use in here? It looks like we have the same 3 horses, so tell me about El Kraken.
El Kraken ran excellent in his first start in South Florida on June the 19th. took some time off and then came back to be second last time out. That was the same race Titanor was coming out of. Here's the thing about that race. Ralph Nix won it. He won it with a horse who was not as well fancied in Unbridled Hero. Unbridled Hero had notorious problems leaving the gate on time. He broke running, he took the lead, and he gave the field something to think about. They couldn't reach him. He never faced a serious threat. El Track, in my opinion, will go favorite here, so he's a horse to try to beat if you're looking to do that. I think the 6 and the 7 are the ones to try to do that with.
I actually think Unbridled Hero's an okay horse. I liked him that day, had trouble the time before, so he definitely figures and seems to be like a top contender in this race. Before we move on to race number 4, just want to make you aware of in a late work that Pete will remind you of. Lord Olympia on August 27th went 39 flat for 3/8 at the Ocala West Training Center. That is a late work to make you aware of. So the 4th race is an allowance. Fillies and Mares 3-year-olds and up will be going a mile on the turf course. This is a fun race. Scratch the 7 and the 9. Ramsey Zimmerman gets on the 5, Carta Regia. And we're going to take a look back. Pete and I, wow, we are in complete agreement here. Let's take a look back at the last race from Jazzle's Dream, and this is probably why Pete and I both have her on top here. If you can see her, this was in the pouring rain, and she really ran her heart out. It is windy. She drifts a little bit. She's making a nice bid. She just misses.
Well, in my opinion, not to second-guess anybody, but she definitely was carried outward late in the race. You can see the winner of that race, Wild About Jess, carrying her out in the late stages. It was absolutely pouring. That's the key consideration here. There's cut in the ground. Jazzle's Dream ran a winning race last time out. If she duplicates that race here today, she'll be tough to beat. I mean, how can you argue with her form? She's held her form well since returning off an extended vacation. She has a victory and 2 strong seconds. Panici with the return call. Dave Fox is on a roll. Let's see if we can keep it going with Jazzle's Dream.
He really has done a lovely job with her since she's joined his barn. But the 8, Don't Blame Me, is pretty intriguing. This Daughter of Blame is going to make her Gulfstream Park debut today for trainer Kristen Mulhall, who had yet another winner here yesterday. She has not raced since December, but it was in the Grade 1 Starlet at Los Alamitos on dirt. 2 starts back, she was 3rd, only beaten a length in a Grade 3 at Del Mar on the grass, and that was her first and only start on turf. Finds a nice spot to return from the 8-month layoff, but some question marks here off the long rest.
Exactly. That's the key with Don't Blame Me. I think her resume speaks for itself. If she's graded stakes placed in an A other than, she should be pretty strong, but the bettors will hone in on that. So again, I thought Jazzle's Dream was a viable alternative to the key horse to beat, the 8, Don't Blame Me.
Completely agree with you. And what about the 1, Princess Fiona?
Yeah, this horse might rate a little bit of a chance in here. She won off the layoff 3 starts ago. Stalked the pace last time out to be 4th behind Susie B, who stakes tested. Was stakes tested herself 2 starts ago behind You're the One and I Love, and then Katie's Kiss. Katie's Kiss came back to win and beat Huasca in the process. So Princess Fiona is a horse, to me, she's a 3-year-old taking on older horses, but she is the best one of the 3-year-olds to do that here today.
Eddie Castro was on her last time out, but he does opt to ride Don't Blame Me today. Jonathan Gonzalez going to pick up the mount. So we'll move to the 5th race, and this race does begin the Rainbow Six today. Almost $482,000 in the pool. This is a $10,000 maiden claiming event. 3-year-olds and up going to be going 5.5 furlongs on the main track. Scratch the 1, Aussible. That would have been my Rainbow Six single, so that makes this race really wide open. Also scratch the 6 and the 9. Pete, without Aussible, what do you do here?
Yeah, that's the key question. I mean, the 5th race here today is good news and bad news. The good news is it becomes a wide-open betting affair. The bad news is good luck finding a single the rest of the way. Aussible would have been a strong single, and frankly, if Aussible had won the race, you were already looking at a carryover in that Rainbow Six the way it's been being played. For me, I think you go to Fugazi Boy and hope that people don't go there. This horse is dropping off of the race. He's actually not dropping. He's moving off of the turf course, a surface that they've tried him on 2 of his 3 races. He didn't run a jump on either occasion. His first start off the shelf, he was 3rd, a long way behind both Me Patron and Voter Turnout. Voter Turnout came back to dust a field of maidens and then go strongly favored in a starter allowance race and end up 2nd. For me, Fugazi Boy is the speed in here because the other horses in here have very, very questionable form. You have horses like Drimmer and Notional's Wind, but the horse to beat is the horse you have on top, Indie Artist, but he himself is good news and bad news.
Yes, I mean, he hasn't won, and this is going to be his 15th start, so there's the big issue. Fourth last time out at this distance, but in his previous two, he was second, beaten less than a length each time. I like that kind of consistency, and today, I mean, no excuses, he finds the right spot.
Absolutely. It's now or never time for Indie Artist. He's had his opportunities to win races. He's fallen just short. That's the bad news. The good news is, if you're using form, he's a standout in here.
So we'll move on to the 6th race, and just want to note, with the scratch of Ossible, I do not have a single today in the Rainbow Six, so that's going to say it's wide open today. This is a $16,000 claimer. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, which have not won 3 races, or 3-year-olds going to be going a mile on the turf course. And I have a horse on top, Pete, that you did not use. I want to take a look back and show you Rose Graciella's last race. I really love the grit that this filly showed last time out. She lacks racing room here. You see her, she's behind a wall of horses. She's forced to go wide right here. Nowhere to go. Absolutely nowhere to go. Now a hole opens up, and she's going to be pretty game rallying between horses. And she is going to get up to win by a neck.
Well, the good news is that Rose Graciella's won 3 in a row. The bad news is she continues to face tougher company. This was a race where I had actually wagered against Rose Graciella, and as an announcer, it's always a very bitter feeling when you know you're beat a quarter of a mile into the race. And that particular race, everybody else tried to make the lead or tactically get position. Rose Graciella just dropped back to last, and I knew, even going into the first turn, all she had to do was find room. She was going to be tough to beat.
Now, yes, she is facing tougher and tougher company. She's stepping up from a $12,500 claimer, but she fits these conditions. She's one of only 2 3-time winners in the field, which she's able to do as a 3-year-old. And she's the only one, though, whose 3 wins came at this distance. The other, Starship Cosmo, has yet to win a race at this distance. So I think she definitely figures. And she's hot right now. We'll see if she can make it 4 in a row. So, Pete, you went with the one who I do not have in here. That is I.O. Inez, so please convince me.
Well, I don't know if I can. I can convince you of one thing. She's going to be a good price, and so is the 11 Moments Copycat. For me, I did not see, and this is the same stories you'll hear a lot of times from me, if I don't see a large distinction between the contenders and the, quote, pretenders, I will always take the longer price horses because, you know, when you're looking at Rainbow Six sequences, especially when I handicapped this race, I figured Ozible was a free square. Now I'm trying to get the price horses. I.O. Inez is intriguing. She's by English Channel, so she's bred to handle the grass course. She actually has not run well on the grass course, but she's never been on the grass against these horses. She was an easy winner in her Gulfstream debut. She stretches out around 2 turns today. Miguel Vasquez riding. I think she's the inside speed here. I'm going to try to steal it at a price, and if I can't, I'm going to hope Momont's Copycat can run better than she has been. Frankly speaking, Rose Graciella, I've stayed off the bandwagon. I'm not jumping on it now, whereas Momont's Copycat, I've been on her bandwagon. She's disappointed me. She's getting one more try.
And what about the favorite, Stars Collide? We both did use her. Has the freshness edge on a horse like Rose Graciella. Hasn't raced since July 3rd. Was 3rd at this level. Going to make her first start off the claim today for Peter Walder. That's always a category he excels in. But the big issue for me and why I couldn't put her on top, 0 for 9 at this distance.
What does she have to run at? That's the problem. She comes from way, way back. The ground will favor her running style, but the pace might not.
We'll see if maybe she'll sit a little bit closer to that pace today. We'll move on to the 7th race. This is a maiden special weight for 2-year-olds. We have a full field of 12. Just one jockey change. Manny Aguilar is going to be on the 3, Catch That Cat. They'll be going 7 furlongs. And we're going to take a look back at the last race from Catch That Cat. I have him on top. Pete has him in second, and I thought he ran really well last time out. This was his career debut. He's going to make a 3-wide bid, coming from a little bit, you know, sitting just off the pace, which is hard to do in these short baby races, and gets up for second. I see a lot of room for improvement in his second race. I really think that the way he ran is going to suggest, here he is getting up, really coming on well late, suggests that he should like this extra distance. Peter Walder doesn't really run that many 2-year-olds, but I think this one might be okay for him to have a 2-year-old. It's pretty nice. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think he's good at developing horses because,
Yes.
as you said, there's a lot of times where he claims horses and moves them up over a long period of time. See Maydell or Palatine Hill for details on that. I have a strong opinion here, though, Katie. I love the one here, Charging Lil. This horse debuted in the Desert Vixen division of the Florida Sire Stakes, and by and large, if you go back and watch that replay, she ran really, really well, all things considered. She was down on the inside. She was up in the contending position early on in the race. She was facing horses like Silent Prayer and It's High Time. Ballet Diva was heavily favored in there, did no better than third. But if you go back and you do the math, she only gets beat by Ballet Diva by like a couple lengths. And while I recognize Ballet Diva didn't bring her A game, for a horse to do that in her debut in a stake, and now she gets to run against her friends, the maiden special weight horses, the only problem is she draws the rail again, but all she has to do is just take a little bit of a step forward. She campaigns for the same connections as Sheer Drama.
Yep, another daughter of Big Drama. He's off to an excellent start at stud as well. We'll see how she responds to that class relief and having some experience under her belt. We'll move on to the 8th race. This is a $12,500 claiming event. Fillies and Mares 3-year-olds and up will be going a mile on the turf course. Scratch the 11, Starship Journey. Diego Gomez is on the 2. And Pete and I, we both went with the 5 in here. Starship Shawty. Every time I have to say this name in the replay show, I have to laugh a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if it's, I always want to say like shoddy, like shorty with a accent or something.
Right.
But she's been very, very good. She's hit the board in each of her last 5 races, winner of 3 of those 5. I don't think the ground matters to her. I think we're on to the 3 contenders in here. What do you do with the business? Wow, was she impressive. She came from nowhere last time to win off the claim. If she can run back to that race, she's a big contender. Starship Shawty's a big contender. And then the class dropper for next, Dream Come True, the other one.
Yeah, that's a congrats. Filly was running in the allowance ranks, 5th behind the ever-consistent Maydell last time out, who really ran awesome earlier in the week as the favorite. Trouble Trip was 2nd. The last time she ran at this level, she scored by 5 widening lengths in May, but it was against condition claimers, so I think we really do have the top 3 contenders in this race. So we'll move on to the 9th. This is a $6,250 claimer. Fillies and Mares 3-year-olds and up, which have not won 2 races in life, will be going 6.5 furlongs on the main track. Scratch the 8, Roanna Daytona. I went with the 3, Pete. You went with the 6, Golden Annie.
Yeah, here's another race. Didn't see a huge separation between the horses that were going to take money and the ones that aren't. I actually wanted to be gutsy enough to take Coquitona on top. I couldn't do that, though. I used her 3rd. I think she's going to show speed. She's intriguing because she went 46 and change 2 starts ago, finished up in 40 and 2 going a mile. That was a good time for the level. Then she hooks Barbie Loca, who was so good last time. Barbie Loca went 46 and change and kept right on ticking. So Coquitona, I think she's the speed in here. Rona Daytona comes out. That's going to help her cause. Yep. Golden Annie lands for me on top just because I think she had to need that last race. She'll be better now than she was then.
I went with Dicosa. I just love the consistency and versatility of this one. Has hit the board in 4 of her last 5 from 6 furlongs to a mile. Don't have to worry about distance here, but I'm just going to say these last 2 races, the 9th and 10th, definitely the most difficult to handicap for me. So we'll go to the 10th and final race on the card. This is a $12,500 maiden claimer. Fillies and Mares 3-year-olds and up, which have not won 2 races, will be going a mile on the turf. Scratch the 2, 3, 9, 10, 14. The 15 gets in. Or I'm sorry, the 16 gets in rather. The 15 still waiting to see. That's the MTO will probably come out. Pete, wow, again, this was a difficult one. I know you went and took a little bit of a gamble here. Tell me about the 12 putting Lynn's Image right on top.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I should take my lumps. I'm picking an 0 for 36 maiden to win today's final race. But I have logic, and it's sound logic. There's cut in the ground here. We have had rain. There might be more rain by the time this race runs. I've watched Lynn's Image when that has been the case, both here at Gulfstream and at Gulfstream West. She's very, very tiny, so she gets over the ground much, much better than some of her counterparts. She always is kind of a one-pace type horse, but in a race where I don't know who's going to get over the ground, I know Lynn's Image is. Is she going to be 1 for 37? I don't know, but she's going to be a big price. I know she can handle the surface. Why not take a shot? A lot of the main contenders on paper have scratched out of here.
Right, well, with all the scratches, I don't think you're going to get 15-1. That's really the only common denominator within our picks, so who knows? She could take this one and make it 1 for 37. But I did go to the rail with the jockey change Juan Leva on Starship Galaxy. Blinkers added today. That could be the difference maker in here and helping her to get more involved early. One of the more lightly raced fillies, just 3 starts under her belt, and making her first start off the claim for Francisco D'Angelo, who's a newer Venezuelan trainer here coming in, and his horse took a lot of money yesterday.
That was what I was just going to say. You took the words right out of my mouth. Dixie Conqueror took a lot of money for Francisco D'Angelo, finished a good second, so the barn is capable. This is much the best horse on paper in the finale.
Well, we're giving you plenty of options. Another exciting Rainbow Six sequence on tap today. Thanks for joining us here at Gulfstream. Pete's going to stay on and give you any additional changes that you'll need to have a perfect handicapping day here. Anything else?
Let's try to keep the rain away and enjoy the afternoon.
Good luck.